a gun aimed straight at a black woman's face. The word freeze ripped through the quiet street like thunder, and Henry Lawson's heart turned to ice. The man holding the gun? Not a thief, not a cop. He was the HOA's own security guard, Travis Barnes, a washed-up ex-officer fired for excessive force. Now he was paid to protect Cedar Vale Heights, but tonight he was pointing a Glock 19 at a homeowner's daughter on her own doorstep. And why? Because she looked suspicious walking to her own house at 10 p.m. But what Travis didn't realize was that the woman in his sights, Alicia Lawson, wasn't just any neighbor. She was an FBI tactical commander, trained to stare down real terrorists, not small-town egos with badges. What happened next would explode the fake peace of Cedar Vale Heights and expose just how deep the rot went inside its perfectly trimmed walls. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe to Silent Divide Tales because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Henry Lawson, 56, a retired diplomat who had survived riots and coups overseas, had moved here for peace after losing his wife. Cedar Vale Heights promised quiet streets, perfect lawns, and safety, but the fine print never said the HOA ran the place like a private kingdom. His daughter Alicia had come home after 2 brutal years abroad. Henry was thrilled. He couldn't wait to show her the new house. He didn't know that Richard Hale, the smug HOA president, his gossip queen wife Victoria, and their favorite guard Travis Barnes were about to turn her homecoming into a nightmare. When Henry opened the door, he froze. Travis stood there, gun still aimed at Alicia's face, while his sidekick Jason Ward lingered by the car, hand on his holster. "Get down now or I'll treat you as a threat," Travis barked. Can you imagine? A homeowner's daughter treated like a criminal for walking home? But that's when Alicia's training kicked in, and she decided to let this man dig his own grave. Alicia didn't flinch. Her eyes locked on the barrel, calm, steady, calculating. She'd handled armed standoffs before, but never one this ridiculous. The way Travis gripped that Glock told her everything. He wasn't confident, he was performing. His hand trembled just enough to show this wasn't about security. It was about ego. "Mr. Barnes," she said coolly, "you're pointing a loaded weapon at a federal officer without cause. You realize that's a felony, right?" Travis's face drained, then twisted back into arrogance. "This is private property," he spat. "We have rules here. Even FBI agents, if that's real, don't get exceptions." Can you believe the nerve? A rent-a-cop lecturing a federal agent about rules? But Alicia didn't bite. She just stared him down until he holstered the gun. Too slow, too proud, too late. Henry rushed forward, shaking with fury. "That's my daughter! What the hell is wrong with you?" Alicia raised a hand gently, keeping him back. She wasn't done yet, because she knew this wasn't just a hothead on a power trip. This was a whole system built on fear, and she was going to dismantle it. The next morning, the knock came. Richard Hale, Cedar Vale's HOA president, stood on the porch in pressed khakis and a logo polo like he owned the neighborhood. Beside him was Victoria, pearl necklace, judgmental smile, clipboard in hand. "Mr. Lawson," Richard began smoothly, "we need to discuss last night's unfortunate incident." Unfortunate? Henry's diplomat calm cracked. "Your man aimed a gun at my daughter for walking home. That's not unfortunate. That's criminal." Richard's grin didn't budge. "Had you properly registered your guest, this wouldn't have happened." "Guest?" Alicia stepped forward. "I'm not a guest. I live here when I visit my father, and by the way, your guard's license is invalid in this state. Should I forward that to the state board, or would you like to handle it quietly?" The president blinked. The queen's smirk vanished. Alicia closed the door right in their stunned faces. But little did they know, that door slam was only the first warning shot. For a few days, things seemed calm. Too calm. But in Cedar Vale Heights, peace never lasts when insecure men feel humiliated. Travis Barnes's patrol car started showing up outside the Lawsons' house, engine idling, headlights angled toward their windows. It wasn't security, it was intimidation. And the neighbors? Suddenly quiet. No waves, no smiles, just closed curtains and whispered gossip. Can you guess who was behind it? Of course, Richard and Victoria Hale, the HOA's royal couple running the gossip mill like their personal PR agency. But Alicia wasn't the type to hide. She spent nights on her laptop, combing through public records, calling contacts, connecting dots. Then, Karma strutted into the grocery store wearing heels. Victoria Hale, in her overpriced sundress and fake pearls, rammed her shopping cart right into Alicia's. "Oh, look, the FBI agent," she said loudly. "Hope you're not here investigating us law-abiding folks." Alicia didn't blink. "Actually," she replied sweetly, "financial crimes are one of my specialties. It's shocking what people hide in plain sight." The store went silent, and from behind the produce aisle, a woman in a navy pantsuit raised an eyebrow. Jessica Miller, an HOA board member and attorney who'd clearly seen enough. Later, in the parking lot, Jessica leaned close. "There are things happening here that don't add up. Some of us have been collecting evidence, but we need someone who knows how to use it. That's how allies are born, over bruised egos and bruised apples." That night, Jessica handed Alicia HOA financial reports. Together, they sat at the dining table, highlighters in hand. Road repairs that never happened, tens of thousands gone. Payments to a security company owned by Victoria's brother, charging premium rates for Travis and his goons. Alicia tapped the paper. "This isn't bad accounting," she said flatly. "It's embezzlement dressed up as HOA maintenance." Then the next blow landed. Henry stepped outside the next morning to find his garden destroyed and his fence spray painted with a racist slur. Can you imagine the audacity? But Alicia didn't lose her cool. She smiled. "Dad," she said calmly, "we needed this. Now it's not harassment, it's evidence." That night, Alicia reviewed the hidden camera footage she'd installed days earlier, and there they were, Travis and another guard sneaking across the Lawsons' lawn after midnight, laughing as they vandalized it. It was the nail in the coffin, and Alicia was holding the hammer. By morning, word spread. This neighbors began showing up with tools and gardening gloves. Jessica brought mulch, Linda Price brought lemonade and gossip. Within an hour, half the street was helping replant Henry's garden while swapping stories of fines, intimidation, and threats. Even Alicia's FBI colleague David Carter joined quietly, disguised as a family friend. When Travis's patrol car crept by again, David leaned in. "That's the guy?" Alicia nodded. "Good," he said, "because he's about to run out of time." 2 days later, Richard and Victoria strutted back onto the porch with fake smiles and folded documents. "Henry," Richard purred, "let's resolve this neighbor to neighbor." Alicia read the contract. A mutual non-disclosure agreement. In plain English, a bribe for silence. "So you want to buy us off?" Alicia asked. "You really should have checked who you were trying to blackmail. This conversation's being recorded." Richard's grin died. Victoria's face froze. They stormed off, straight into their own undoing. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed. Richard launched into his speech about community values, but Henry stood up, calm and precise. He listed every shady contract, every stolen dollar, every lie. Then Alicia connected her phone to the projector, and up came the footage. Travis pointing a gun at her face, then vandalizing their garden. Gasps filled the room. Travis lunged, but Alicia was faster. In one move, she disarmed and pinned him to the floor. Officer Alvarez cuffed him as David Carter stepped forward, flashing his badge. "Richard Hale," he said, "FBI. We need to talk about your offshore accounts." And just like that, the mighty HOA kingdom crumbled. Within days, Travis was charged with assault and weapons violations. Richard got 15 years for embezzlement and fraud. Victoria's empire of tea parties and gossip collapsed into dust. Cedar Vale Heights finally breathed again. Flowers replanted, peace restored. And for the first time in months, Henry watched his daughter smile in the morning sun. Because when corruption hides behind rules, all it takes is one brave woman to burn the rule book. This has been Silent Divide Tales. If you believe in standing up to bullies hiding behind power, hit like, share this story, and subscribe. Because on Silent Divide Tales, justice always gets the last word.